We can all safely confirm that 2020 was the doomsday year, where everything was closed down, the coronavirus was raging like a raging bull, and whoever government you're with, either they did it extremely well or extremely poorly. Knowing I'm British, you should know which of these categories the Tory parties landed it. But movie-wise, and doing some last-minute Netflixing, I can safely say that this year has been a pretty decent year for films. I can say so much so I even got a top 5, including some honourable mentions. But needless to say, what are my top 5 favourite films of 2020? For honourable mentions, Birds of Prey, On the Rocks, Ma Rainey's Black Button, and Onward. And at number 5, it's David Fincher's 2020 film, Mank. The story of Herbert Mankiewicz, who is the co-writer of the widely acclaimed movie Citizen Kane. As he was trying to write the movie, he was suffering with alcoholism, and he was suffering from a possible meddling with studios, even though they did remark that, oh, you're doing it without studio involvement. And it's just him attempting to navigate through the political and chaotic system of 1930s Hollywood. With, of course, like the movie Citizen Kane, the movie is told through flashbacks as he attempts to write the movie and try to recount all the experience he had and mold them together into the movie. I really do. I'm a fan of David Fincher. I think my favourite film from him is definitely Fight Club. And I really like the movie The Social Network. I think this is him as at his peak at the moment, even though he's kind of on Netflix at the moment. This was a movie written by his father, Jack Fincher, but he passed away like I think somewhere in the 2000s. But and he wanted to do this film for like 20 years after finishing the 1997 film The Game. The acting of Gary Oldman's brilliant. The cinematography is gorgeous despite being black and white. The sets are wonderful and marvellous. And the ensemble cast really bounce off each other and has some really excellent chemistry. The score work of Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails is brilliant. Even though I prefer his score from The Social Network. And all in all, I really I really enjoyed this movie. And of course has a really satisfying end to it, and it has some pretty heartbreaking moments. It's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, would I say. And that was at number 5 for Mank. And at number 4 we have Christopher Nolan's Tenant. Or that one movie in summer that tried to face off the mother load that was the coronavirus, but it wasn't everyone's favourite Nolan movie and did kind of poorly in the box office, but I liked the movie as well. The movie is a espionage thriller that goes kind of into time travel and time corrosion and time inversion, and have some incredible plot twists, which is kind of now expected from the guy who made Insomnia, Memento, The Dark Knight Trilogy, Interstellar, Inception, and Dunkirk. Even though it's kind of what you expect by now from Nolan, it's still such a brilliant film from him. And with David John Washington, and there's Rod Pattinson and Kenneth Branagh, and a really kind of brief cameo of Michael Caine, which is kind of expected from Nolan, I guess. Yeah, the set pieces are brilliant. The score work of Lee Gregorison, who did the Black Panther score, is incredibly great in his job now. The action scenes are amazing. The cinematography is gorgeous, and there seemed to be a lot more world to the movie than other Christopher Nolan movies. Although with some exceptions like Inception and of course Interstellar, there seemed to be more of an international feel to it. It kind of feels like this is what happens if James Bond was directed by Nolan. I think this was kind of a thing at one point he was going to direct it. But nevertheless, I actually had a ball for this movie. The acting is great, the writing and direction of Nolan is on par with his other films. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie, even if it kind of did a bit of a bizarre move, like trying to face off against the virus in the middle of a pandemic. Which, in Britain, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. For number 3, we have Aaron Sorkin's The Trial of Chicago 7. Like, this movie could not have come out at the most perfect time possible, with a new Supreme Court that leaned towards the conservative side in America, and a highly hyped election which eventually went to Joe Biden, and of course, the right wing and the conservatives completely lost it and went completely ape, you know what. And of course, Aaron Sorkin found a way to make a movie about the 1968 Democratic Party uprising in Chicago, and the subsequent fallout and the subsequent trial that ensued, and how the Justice Department poorly treated the protesters and said, oh, they incited riots, even though, let's be real, the police started it. Like, the police started anything. This movie has a brilliant ensemble cast like Mark Rylance, Eddie Redmayne, and Sacha Baron Cohen, and Michael Keaton, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. The writing is brilliant, and so is the direction of Aaron Sorkin, who I'm presuming is like relatively new to directing thing, even though he's been writing for decades now. But directing, I think he directed like West Wing, the TV show, and Molly's Game, which he definitely did. And the editing is brilliant, particularly during the Battle on the Hills. And when a serious event happened that got really worse for the protesters, they just add to all the perspectives who were there at the protest. The ending is brilliant for the movie, as we get to learn what the characters did like afterwards. The acting is great, and it feels like this is kind of it's kind of a political feel good movie. Depending where you politically stand on it, or if you like make a movie of like one of the Radiohead albums, it'd probably be like Hail to the Thief, because due to its heavy political undertones in the film. But all in all, about the movie Trial of Chicago 7, it's actually such a great film that I'm really into, and of course it could not have come out at a better time, or a time. It's not a film that everyone wants, but it's a film that everyone really needs at this point. And at number 2 on this spot is The Five Bloods, a film directed by Spike Lee about 5 Vietnam vets who go back to Vietnam to search the gold they've buried all these years ago during the war. The movie, of course, boasts some gorgeous cinematography and excellent direction and writing by Spike Lee, who is fresh off his first competitive Oscar win for the movie BlacKkKlansman. And of course some brilliant performers, especially of Chadwick Boseman, which is his final film when he was alive. There was some gorgeous score work as well, and some great editing, and such a versatile yet brutal action scenes in this movie, and it has such an unflinching and such an unnerving attitude that doesn't drive towards a straight up cynicalism. Well, it just gives you facts about what happened. Like, we served our country, and this is what we got in return for it, as it's about the African American experience, as well as serving in the Vietnam War, while being a hero in the fields, but being somewhat of a walking target when they come back to America, which is kind of such a grim fact that's kind of honestly a little bit hard to swallow. Again, this is a Spike Lee movie who did films like Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing, which I absolutely love about the latter. Of course, the movie has boasted some really relevant racial commentary, particularly during the Black Lives Matter movement that happened throughout last year of 2020. I feel like it was almost like the Trials of Chicago 7, where Trials of Chicago 7 was kind of a slightly more hopeful, more optimistic movie. This one's kind of more of a cold, yet not cynical, but kind of a morbid take on the commentary of the Vietnam vets and what they've been through, and them kind of encountering their demons as they go through Vietnam once for all, and of course try and find that gold, which is kind of a key driving point for that movie. All in all, I really liked it. And the number 1 film of 2020 is... And the number 1 film for 2020 is Wolfwalkers. The story is of a wolf hunter and his daughter travel to Ireland when it was ruled under Oliver Cromwell, of course, the daughter wanders into the woods and finds the wolves and the folk legend of Wolfwalkers. And soon enough, like sometime into the movie, she turns into a wolf through magic. Of course, the animation in this movie is beautifully crafted and it's so gorgeous to look at. Like you can feel all the hard work all the heart that the animators put in every frame in this movie. And I really like the score work in this movie, and it's really sharp editing in this film, as well as some pretty realistic and pretty heart-throbbing voice acting, particularly from Sean Bean as father. And of course, the movie somewhat reminds me of Hayao Miyazaki's 1997 film Princess Mononoke as being one of the more violent and more visceral entrails in the movie, into his filmography. But I think I could say that again to Tom Moore, who I really want to watch more of his films now. I've already seen like Song of the Sea, which came out 5 or 6 years ago now. There's Secret of the Kells, and he apparently helped out on Breadwinners, either as a producer, I think. But this movie is probably one of the most atmospheric, the most beautifully crafted, the most visceral, and one of the most raw and one of the most unforgiving animated films I've seen in like years now. Like this is a movie, not as not exactly like for casual viewing, but it's kind of to just watch something that is not really like a background animation movie, but something to really get yourself really invested into the story, really invested into the characters, and really invested in the setting and the historical context into the movie. And of course, the third act gets unbelievably intense, I would say. But all in all, my favourite film of 2020 is Wolfwalkers. Let me know in the comments what your favourite films of 2020 is. Like this video, comment, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And this is Elijah Wells, and bye!